First contact, first blood. The stars were cold witnesses to humanity's journey. After centuries of timid exploration around Sol's nearest neighbors, mankind had finally broken free of its cradle, reaching for the distant arms of the Milky Way with unprecedented speed. The Alcubierre drive had changed everything, compressing space in ways the greatest minds of the 21st century could only theorize. Now, in 2347, human outposts dotted a sphere nearly 40 light-years in diameter. But the universe, as it turned out, was far from empty. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the UNDF Harbinger, watching the unfamiliar stars of the Theta Reticuli system. Her ship hung in the void like a predator suspended in dark water, sleek, dangerous, and still. Unlike the bulky colony ships or utilitarian military vessels that made up most of Earth's fleet, the Harbinger was something else entirely. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures on the far side of the gas giant," Lieutenant Davis reported from his station. Maya nodded, her amber eyes never leaving the viewport. She was 38, with features that reflected her mixed Chinese-Indian heritage, hair pulled back in a tight braid that hung to the middle of her back. The scars along her left temple, remnants from the Europa incident, pulsed slightly as they always did when tension filled the air. "Classification?" she asked. "Unknown, ma'am. Nothing matching Earth registry or any of the trading species we encountered." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. First contact. Again. Humanity had already met 3 spacefaring species in the last decade. 2 were peaceful nomadic traders, and 1 was a reclusive hive mind that simply wished to be left alone. But this signature was different, more organized, more military. "Send the standard greeting package," Maya ordered. "All languages, all frequencies." "Transmitting now," Communications Officer Raman confirmed. Maya felt a familiar tingle at the base of her skull, where the neural interface connected her to the ship. The Harbinger wasn't just a vessel, it was an extension of herself. The most advanced piece of technology ever created by human hands, though few knew of its true capabilities. "Are you detecting any threats?" she thought. The ship's AI responded in her mind, voice cool and feminine. "Negative, Maya. But their energy configuration suggests substantial weapons capacity. Recommend caution." 3 days later, they had their answer. The alien vessels emerged from behind the gas giant like a shoal of predatory fish. 17 warships, each nearly twice the size of the Harbinger, arranged in an attack formation. Their hulls gleamed with a metallic purple-black sheen, angular and sharp, with no visible windows or external features except for what appeared to be weapon ports. "They're hailing us," Raman said, looking surprised. "On screen," Maya ordered, straightening her posture. The view screen flickered, and Maya found herself staring at an alien being. Its face was avian in structure, with a sharp beak-like protrusion and feathers that shimmered iridescent blue and green. But the eyes, 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, were coldly reptilian, unblinking and calculating. "I am Strategos Vexcareth of the Exavari Dominion," the translator interpreted. "You trespass in claimed territory." Maya maintained her composure. "Captain Maya Chen of the United Nations Defense Force vessel Harbinger. We were unaware this system was claimed. We come in peace and seek diplomatic relations." The alien's head tilted sharply. "Your species is unknown to us. Your technology is concerning. You will surrender your vessel for inspection and accompany us to the nearest Exavari outpost for evaluation." "I'm afraid I can't do that, Strategos," Maya replied evenly. "But we're willing to establish communication protocols and share information about our species and intentions, which are peaceful." The alien's feathers flattened against its skull. Refusal is interpreted as hostility. "Prepare to be boarded or destroyed." The transmission cut off. "Well, that went well," Lieutenant Davis muttered. Maya's mind raced. The Harbinger was a prototype, the only one of its kind. Its Its technology couldn't fall into alien hands, but she also couldn't risk provoking an interstellar war. Options, she thought. We can outrun them, the ship responded. Our drive is superior. Alternatively, we can demonstrate minimal defensive capabilities without revealing our full potential. They're targeting us, the tactical officer announced. Energy weapons charging. Maya made her decision. Evasive pattern delta. Power defensive shields only. No offensive measures yet. The Harbinger responded instantly, moving with a grace that belied its size. The first HFY energy blasts dissipated against its shields, which flared bright blue on impact. Shields holding at 97%, reported the tactical officer, sounding surprised. Open a channel, Maya ordered. Rahman worked his console. Channel open. Strategos vex careth, Maya spoke firmly. We have no wish for conflict. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses. I request we cease hostilities and attempt diplomatic. 3 more HFY ships fired simultaneously. The Harbinger shuddered slightly. Shields at 89%. Tactical updated. Maya's expression hardened. Close channel. Initiate Phase 1 defensive protocols. The neural link between Maya and the ship deepened. She felt the Harbinger's systems flow through her consciousness like cool water. This was what made the ship special, not just its advanced technology, but its ability to form a symbiotic relationship with its captain. The more threatened they became, the deeper the connection grew. They're coordinating a full barrage, Davis warned. Maya didn't reply verbally. Instead, she thought the command, and the Harbinger responded. Just as the HFY fleet fired, the Harbinger seemed to flicker. Not cloaking, not traditional evasion, but something else. A partial phase shift that made the energy weapons pass harmlessly through space, the ship no longer fully occupied. On the bridge, the crew watched in stunned silence as the barrage missed completely. What just happened? Rahman whispered. Phase shift technology. Maya replied calmly. Experimental. That was the public explanation, at least. The truth was far more complex. The Harbinger wasn't just evading. It was briefly slipping between dimensional planes, something theoretically impossible according to mainstream physics. The HFY ships adjusted formation, clearly confused by what they'd witnessed. 2 smaller vessels moved to flank positions. They're attempting to box us in, Davis observed. Maya nodded. Let them try. The neural connection hummed with energy as Maya accessed deeper ship functions. The Harbinger's exterior began to change, nanomaterials rearranging themselves, weapon systems emerging from previously smooth hull sections. Captain, the tactical officer said hesitantly, we're being scanned extensively. They'll detect our weapons coming online. Good, Maya replied. Let them see. The HFY fleet suddenly accelerated, all ships converging on the Harbinger from different angles. Maya closed her eyes briefly, focusing on the neural link. Show them what we can do. Minimal force, maximum impact. The Harbinger pulsed once, a ripple of energy emanating from its hull in all directions. When it reached the nearest HFY ships, their engines simply stopped. 3 warships drifted, powerless. Targeted EMP burst, Maya explained to her wide-eyed crew. Non-destructive. The remaining HFY vessels opened fire again, more desperately this time. The Harbinger moved with impossible speed, evading the majority of shots while its shields absorbed the few that connected. They're hailing us again, Rahman reported. On screen. Strategos Vexcareth appeared, feathers now fully erect in what Maya interpreted as alarm or rage. What manner of technology is this? The alien demanded. No species possesses such capabilities. We do, Maya replied simply. And we still have no wish for conflict. Will you stand down and discuss peaceful relations? The Strategos made a harsh clicking sound. The HFY Dominion does not negotiate with potential threats. Your ship and technology represent an unacceptable risk to our supremacy. We will not rest until we possess or destroy it. Maya's expression remained neutral, but inwardly she sighed. Then you leave me no choice but to demonstrate what unacceptable risk truly means. She closed the channel. Ma'am, Davis questioned, concern in his voice. They've made their position clear, Lieutenant, Maya said. They won't stop until they have this ship or destroy it, and neither option is acceptable. She interfaced deeply with the Harbinger again, accessing systems that only she could control. Target the flagship's weapon systems only, she ordered. Precision strike. The Harbinger's hull rippled again, but this time, something emerged. Not traditional weapons, but what appeared to be focused light, coalescing into a narrow beam. It struck the HFY flagship with surgical precision. No explosion, no fire, just a sudden, selective disabling of its primary weapons. What was that? Raman asked. Targeted quantum disruption, Maya explained. It destabilizes specific molecular bonds. In this case, the ones in their weapon systems. The HFY fleet's formation broke as ships scattered in apparent confusion. 3 more tried to fire, only to have their weapons disabled in the same manner. They're retreating, Davis announced, surprise evident in his voice. Maya nodded. Let them go. The bridge crew watched as the HFY vessels regrouped at a safer distance, the disabled ships being touted by their comrades. Captain, Raman said, they're broadcasting on all frequencies, not just to us, but outward. Long-range communications. Let me hear it. The translation came through clearly. Attention all HFY forces. We have encountered an unknown species with highly advanced technology. Their vessels possess capabilities that challenge Dominion supremacy. By decree of Strategos Vexcarath, a state of war now exists between the HFY Dominion and these creatures. All units mobilize. All reserves activate. The hunt begins. Maya's expression remained composed, but her eyes hardened. They just declared war on humanity. Davis stated the obvious, voice hollow. Yes, Maya agreed. They did. She turned to her communications officer. Raman, prepare a full report for UNDF Command. Include all sensor data and recordings of the encounter. What are your orders, Captain? The tactical officer asked. Maya looked out at the stars again, at the retreating HFY ships. Set course for the nearest QEC relay station. Earth needs to know what's coming. As the Harbinger turned away from the Theta Reticuli system, Maya remained connected to her ship, feeling its systems, its power. What the HFY didn't understand, couldn't understand, was that they had only witnessed a fraction of what the Harbinger could do. The ship's AI voice spoke in her mind. They will return with more ships. I know, Maya thought. We could have destroyed them all. That wasn't our mission, Maya replied silently. Not yet. The Harbinger accelerated, quickly leaving the system behind. But the news traveled faster. Across the sector, alien civilizations received the HFY broadcast. Some with fear, some with interest, all with surprise. An unknown species had challenged the HFY Dominion, and won. Word spread through subspace communications, faster than any ship could travel. On distant worlds, beings gathered around communication devices, discussing what this could mean. The HFY had dominated this region of space for centuries, their technological superiority unchallenged. Until now. On a space station at the edge of HFY territory, a multi-species trading post called Nexus Point, creatures from a dozen worlds watched footage smuggled from the encounter. The grainy images showed the human ship evading weapons fire as if the laws of physics were mere suggestions, disabling HFY warships without destroying them. What are they? Asked a tentacled merchant. A gray-skinned information broker leaned forward. They call themselves humans. From a world called Earth. They're new to this sector. They're dead, said a HFY civilian, mandibles clicking nervously. No one defies the Dominion and survives. The information broker made a gesture equivalent to a shrug. Perhaps, but I think the galaxy just got more interesting. Back on the Harbinger, Maya Chen received a priority transmission from Earth. The face of Admiral Helena Winters appeared on her screen, expression grave. Captain Chen, your report has been received and analyzed. The Security Council has made its decision. Maya straightened. Yes, Admiral. The Harbinger project is now fully authorized. Protocol Ascendant is in effect. Maya's heart raced. Protocol Ascendant was the contingency she had hoped would never be necessary. The full activation of all the Harbinger systems, the complete neural integration, the weaponization of technology meant for exploration. Understood, Admiral, she replied. And the crew? Admiral Winters' expression softened slightly. They were always meant to be your witnesses, Captain. They'll remain with you as long as possible, but when Phase 3 initiates, you'll be on your own. Maya nodded, the weight of her true mission settling on her shoulders. The Exavari have no idea what they've started, the Admiral added. Show them why humanity was never to be provoked. As the transmission ended, Maya felt the Harbinger respond to her emotions, the neural link pulsing with energy. Humanity had created the ship for peaceful exploration, but had built in capabilities that defied conventional understanding of physics and technology, just in case they encountered something like the Exavari Dominion. The war had begun, and the Harbinger was just the beginning of humanity's response. The Ascendant Storm. 3 weeks after the initial encounter, the Harbinger waited in an asteroid field on the edge of the Procyon system. The massive rocks provided some cover from long-range sensors, though Maya knew that wouldn't matter soon enough. They weren't hiding. They were waiting. Captain, we're detecting multiple warp signatures, Lieutenant Davis reported, his voice tight with tension. Large fleet formation. Maya nodded, unsurprised. How many? 57 vessels. Exavari configurations, mostly warships, including 3 dreadnoughts that are significantly larger than anything we encountered before. The crew exchanged nervous glances. They had all been briefed after the first encounter, told the partial truth about the Harbinger's capabilities. But none of them, not even Maya's XO, knew the full extent of what the ship could become. They're broadcasting again, Raman said from communications. System-wide declaration. He paused, listening through his earpiece. They're announcing the elimination of the human threat. And he hesitated, offering amnesty to any local powers that provide information about other human vessels. Maya's lips curved into a slight smile. They're worried. With respect, Captain, Davis countered. They brought 57 warships. That doesn't look like worry to me. Numbers aren't everything, Lieutenant, Maya replied, rising from her command chair. They could have brought 500. The outcome would be the same. She walked to the center of the bridge, addressing her crew. You've all served with honor these past weeks. What comes next was always the contingency we hoped to avoid. But the Exavari have made their intentions clear. They will not stop until they possess our technology or destroy us. Either outcome threatens Earth. She paused, making eye contact with each officer. The Harbinger is about to enter Phase 2 integration. During this process, I'll be temporarily indisposed. Commander Ito will have command. Her XO, a stoic Japanese-Brazilian officer with 20 years of service, nodded gravely. He was one of the few who understood more about the Harbinger's true nature. How long will Phase 2 take, Captain? He asked. Approximately 40 minutes, Maya answered. Keep us within the asteroid field until I return. Engage only if directly threatened. With that, she left the bridge, heading for the integration chamber deep within the ship's core. Are you ready? The ship's AI asked in her mind as she walked through the corridors. As ready as I'll ever be, Maya thought back. Did we make the right choice, provoking them like this? The Exavari were always going to be a threat to humanity, the AI replied. Our encounters with their scout vessels over the past year confirmed their expansionist nature. Better to face them now, on our terms, than when they reach Earth. Maya entered the integration chamber, a spherical room at the heart of the vessel, walls lined with neural interface technology far beyond what the public knew existed. As the door sealed behind her, she removed her uniform jacket and sat in the single chair at the center. "Initiate Phase 2, she commanded. Filaments extended from the chair, connecting to the neural interface at the base of her skull. Others wrapped around her arms and legs, not restraints, but conduits, channels through which the ship could share more of itself with her, and she with it. Maya gasped as the connection deepened, far beyond the surface link she normally maintained. Memories flooded her consciousness, not just her own, but the ship's. The scientists who built it, the quantum AI that formed its core, the materials harvested from a neutron star remnant that made its unique properties possible. For a moment, she wasn't Maya Chen anymore. She was the Harbinger. On the bridge, the crew monitored the approaching HFY fleet. The aliens were taking their time, moving methodically, clearly expecting a trap but confident in their overwhelming numbers. "They're launching scout vessels," Tactical reported. "Small, fast ships, probably looking for us in the asteroid field." Commander Ito nodded. "Maintain position. Passive sensors only." The minutes ticked by tensely. The scout vessels drew closer, weaving through the asteroids with precision. "One of the scouts will pass within 500 meters of our position in 30 seconds, Davis warned. "Hold steady," Ito ordered. The scout ship appeared on their visual sensors, sleek and predatory. It paused, clearly having detected something. "They'd spotted us," Raman said unnecessarily. "They're signaling the main fleet." Ito remained calm. "How long until the captain completes Phase 2? 7 minutes, sir." "Then we hold for 7 minutes," Ito declared. "Shields up, but no offensive measures." The HFY scout kept its distance but continued scanning them. Within minutes, 10 more scout vessels converged on their position, surrounding the Harbinger in a loose formation. "Sir, the main fleet is adjusting course. They'll be within weapons range in 4 minutes." Ito's jaw tightened. Not ideal. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers." Before they could act, the first shots came, not from the main fleet, but from the scouts. Energy blasts struck the Harbinger's shields, which flared bright blue. "Shields holding at 95%, Tactical reported, but they're coordinating their attacks to probe for weaknesses." Ito made a quick decision. Limited evasive action. Use the asteroids for cover, but stay within 2 kilometers of our current position. The captain needs to complete Phase 2. The Harbinger moved gracefully despite its size, slipping between asteroids as the scout vessels pursued. Each time they fired, the shields absorbed the impact, but the attacks were coming more frequently now. "Main fleet is launching fighters," Davis announced. "Hundreds of them." Ito's expression remained composed, but concern flickered in his eyes. "Time until Phase 2 completion. 3 minutes, sir." Those 3 minutes stretched into eternity. The Harbinger evaded what it could, its shields absorbing the rest. But as the fighters joined the scouts, the attacks intensified. Shields dropped to 85%, then 74%. "Sir, we can't maintain this posture much longer," Tactical warned. 2 minutes, Ito replied firmly. "We hold for 2 more minutes." The ship rocked as a coordinated barrage from multiple directions struck simultaneously. "Shields at 60%, Commander. Reroute auxiliary power. Hold position." The attacks intensified further. A particularly powerful blast from one of the approaching dreadnoughts caused the bridge lights to flicker. "Shields at 41%. Ito finally allowed his composure to slip. "Captain Chen, if you can hear me, we need you now." In the integration chamber, Maya floated in a sea of information. Consciousness expanded beyond human limitations. She felt every impact on the shields, every adjustment the ship made to compensate. The progress bar of Phase 2 integration hovered at 96% in her mind's eye. "We must accelerate," the ship's AI urged. "The crew is in danger." "The integration needs to be complete," Maya countered. Otherwise, we risk system failure. 97%. 98%. On the bridge, consoles sparked as another coordinated attack struck home. Shields at 28%. Tactical shouted. Multiple hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Emergency force fields engaged. Ito gripped the arms of the command chair. Evasive pattern Omega. Use whatever weapons are available without the captain's authorization. The Harbinger responded, firing conventional energy weapons at the closest attackers. 2 HFY scouts exploded, but there were dozens more, and the main fleet was almost upon them. Shields failing. Tactical cried as another barrage hit. 15%. 9%. Raman looked up from his console, face pale. Sir, the HFY command ship is hailing us. They're demanding our surrender. Ignore it, Ito ordered. 99%. An enormous blast from the lead HFY dreadnought rocked the ship violently, throwing crew members from their stations. Shields critical. 3%. 100% integration complete. In the integration chamber, Maya's eyes snapped open, but they were no longer entirely human. Geometric patterns of light moved across her irises, and a subtle glow emanated from beneath her skin where the neural filaments connected. Phase 2 integration complete, she said, her voice overlaid with harmonics that seemed to come from the ship itself. Initiating ascendant protocol. Throughout the Harbinger, systems that had lain dormant surged to life. The ship's very structure began to change, the advanced nanomaterials that composed its hull rearranging at the molecular level. Where there had been damage, there was renewal. Where there had been conventional technology, there was something else, something that defied classification. On the bridge, the crew watched in awe as their displays showed the ship's transformation. Shields didn't just recharge. They evolved, becoming something more complex than simple energy barriers. What's happening? Davis asked, voice barely above a whisper. Commander Ito allowed himself a small smile. The real Harbinger is waking up. The door to the bridge slid open, and Maya Chen entered, but she was changed. Her uniform seemed to ripple slightly, as though it wasn't entirely solid. Patterns of light moved beneath her skin, and her eyes held the same geometric configurations that now appeared on the ship's hull. Captain, Raman asked uncertainly. I am still Captain Chen, she assured them, though her voice carried those strange harmonics. But I am also more. The Harbinger and I are now fully integrated. She moved to the command chair, but didn't sit. Instead, she stood before it, hands extended slightly from her sides. Status of the HFY fleet, she asked. Davis checked his readouts. All vessels converging on our position. Weapons hot. They're attempting to establish a targeting lock, but he frowned. They appear to be having difficulty. Maya nodded. They would. We no longer exist entirely in the same dimensional plane as their sensors are designed to detect. She turned to Ito. Commander, you and the crew have done admirably. But from this point forward, your presence is optional. The Harbinger no longer requires manual operation, and I cannot guarantee your safety. Ito straightened. With respect, Captain, we're staying. Someone needs to witness what happens here. Maya studied him for a moment, then nodded. Very well. But interface with the ship systems directly from now on. The physical controls may behave unpredictably. As if to illustrate her point, several consoles reconfigured themselves, controls shifting and changing. The HFY are firing again, Davis reported, now working through a direct neural link to his station. Maya simply raised a hand. Outside, the barrage of energy weapons and missiles seemed to distort as they approached, bending around the Harbinger without making contact. What did you just do? Raman asked in amazement. Localized gravitational lensing, Maya explained. We're bending space-time around the ship. Indirect approach first. I want to give them a chance to reconsider. She stepped forward, toward the view screen. Open a channel to the HFY command ship. The screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the HFY dreadnought. Strategos Vexcareth stood there, surrounded by his officers. "This will be your only warning," Maya said without preamble. "The Harbinger has now reached its operational capacity. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your technology cannot match us. Withdraw your forces and renounce your declaration of war against humanity, or face the consequences." The HFY commander's feathers flattened against his skull in what was clearly a display of aggression. "We detected your shields failing," he responded. "This is clearly a bluff. The Dominion does not negotiate with inferior species." Maya's expression showed no emotion. "Very well." She closed the channel with a thought. "Captain," Ito prompted. "Your orders." "No destruction," Maya stated firmly. "Not yet. First, we demonstrate." She raised both hands now, and the Harbinger responded instantaneously. The ship accelerated, moving not just quickly but impossibly, appearing to be in multiple locations simultaneously, phasing partially between dimensions. The HFY fleet fired desperately, weapons finding no target. Maya guided the Harbinger through their formation with precision, the ship leaving trails of quantum distortion in its wake. As it passed each HFY vessel, their systems faltered, weapons offline, engines sputtering, communications disrupted. "What are we doing to them?" Davis asked, watching the sensor readings in fascination. "Quantum disruption field," Maya explained, her attention still focused on navigating through the enemy fleet. "We're selectively destabilizing their technology without harming the crews." Within minutes, the entire HFY fleet hung motionless in space. 57 warships, including 3 massive dreadnoughts, all dead in the water. Maya opened another channel to the command ship. This time, the HFY bridge was dimly lit by emergency power, officers moving frantically between stations. "This is your second warning," Maya said. "We have disabled your fleet without destruction. We can just as easily restore your systems or eliminate them permanently. The choice is yours." Vexcareth's 4 eyes narrowed. "What are you?" he demanded. "The future," Maya replied simply. "One where humanity exists free from threats. Will you withdraw?" The Strategos made a harsh clicking sound. "The Dominion has never surrendered. We would rather die." Maya sighed. "Then you leave me no choice but to ensure you can never threaten us again." She closed the channel once more. "Captain," Ito said cautiously, "you said no destruction." "And I meant it," Maya confirmed. "But there are alternatives." Maya reopened communications. "Strategos Vexcareth. Your fleet has been modified. Your weapons are gone, replaced with scientific instruments. Your military engines have been converted to standard civilian drives. Your ships remain spaceworthy, but they will never again serve as instruments of war." The HFY commander stared in horror. "What have you done?" "I've given you a choice," Maya replied. "Return to your homeworld. Tell your leaders what happened here. Explain that humanity is willing to coexist peacefully, but will never tolerate aggression. The same technology that transformed your fleet could just as easily have destroyed it, or your entire civilization." She paused, letting the implication sink in. "This encounter has been broadcast across all subspace frequencies. The galaxy now knows what happens when someone declares war on humanity. Choose peace, Strategos, for your people's sake." With that, she terminated the connection. The bridge crew sat in silence, processing what they had just witnessed. It was Commander Ito who finally spoke. "Was this the plan all along?" he asked quietly. "To use the Harbinger as a deterrent?" Maya turned to face him, the light beneath her skin pulsing gently. "Yes and no. The Harbinger was designed for exploration, to take humanity further into the galaxy than we've ever been. But its creators understood that we might encounter hostile civilizations. The integration capabilities, the quantum manipulation technology, they were contingencies." "What happens now?" Davis asked. "Now," Maya said, "we wait. The HFY will return to their homeworld. They'll tell others what they witnessed. Some will doubt, some will fear, but all will know that humanity is not to be threatened. She moved to the view screen, watching as the modified HFY ships slowly regrouped, their once menacing forms now strangely benign. And the Harbinger? It oppressed. What does it? What do you become now? Maya considered the question. That depends on the galaxy's response. If peace prevails, we return to our original mission. Exploration, discovery, diplomacy. If not, she left the statement unfinished. Raman checked his console. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from throughout the sector. Dozens of species, hundreds of worlds. They all saw what happened. And, Maya prompted. Most expressed surprise, some fear, but many. He looked up. Many are requesting diplomatic contact with Earth. Species that previously ignored us now want relations. Maya nodded. As expected. Power recognizes power. What will you tell Earth? Ito asked. The truth, Maya replied. That the Harbinger performed as designed. That humanity has announced its presence in the galaxy in a way that cannot be ignored. And that we now have a choice. To use this position for domination, as the HFY would have, or for something better. She turned back to the view screen, watching as the HFY fleet limped away. The hard part comes next, she continued, proving that we're different, that we can have this power and not abuse it, that humanity's place in the cosmos can be defined by wisdom rather than fear. Days later, as the Harbinger traveled back toward Earth, Maya stood alone in her quarters, looking at her reflection. The patterns of light still moved beneath her skin, though more subtly now. She was no longer entirely human, but she wasn't just a machine either. She was something new, a bridge between organic life and advanced technology. Was it worth it? She asked herself. The ship's consciousness stirred in her mind. That depends on what follows. Power without purpose is meaningless. Maya nodded. The HFY had been dealt with, but they were just one species in a vast galaxy. Others would come, some seeking alliance, others seeking advantage. Earth's isolation was over. Its technology had been revealed, its potential demonstrated. Her communication panel chimed. A message from UNDF Command. The Security Council wanted a full briefing, and strategic planners were already discussing applications of the Harbinger's technology to Earth's defense network. Maya sighed. Already, they were thinking of weapons, of security, of advantage. She composed her response carefully. A Harbinger was never meant to be just a weapon. It represents a path forward, not just for human defense, but for human evolution. How we proceed from here will define our species for centuries to come. As she sent the message, Maya felt the ship's agreement resonating through their shared consciousness. They had shown the galaxy what one human ship could do when provoked. Now they needed to show what humanity could be when given the chance to lead. The Harbinger accelerated, its modified drive leaving a trail of quantum particles that would puzzle scientists for decades. Behind them, the changed HFY fleet limped home, carrying a message that would ripple across civilizations. Ahead lay Earth and the future, uncertain, dangerous, but filled with potential. Maya Chen, captain of the Harbinger, smiled as the stars streaked past. The real journey was just beginning.